Saskatchewan is funny, but I'm Calgary here.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Good. Okay, good. This is it. I said the last one on the last one, but this is the
Oh,
last one.
degraded daughter. Nice to see you here. Hey, Claire and Mark. Nice to see you all live. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Nice. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's get into it. I
Yes.
welcome to this stream, Catherine Christensen. Catherine, we hear you. We see you. You there?
Can you hear us, Catherine? Yay.
Okay, I was trying to fix my mic.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Does it sound like I'm actually on a real microphone?
Well, I don't know. Talk into it. We'll see if it gets louder.
Hello.
No, I think it's whatever other microphone you have, but that's
Okay.
fine. You can still switch it while we're
Okay,
getting
play
things
with
ready
it.
here.
Yeah,
Good.
while you adjust your settings, Mark will give the summary and we can launch into this what no doubt will be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, so Catherine joined the Sea Organization in 1992 in Los Angeles, and she worked there in Los Angeles from 1992 to 2019. And in October of 2019, she was sent to Columbus, Ohio. And one of the things the Sea Org's doing more recently is because they don't have enough staff members in these locations that they're opening these ideal organizations. They need a certain amount of people to run one of these organizations. And they've been sending Sea Org members to these organizations. And Catherine was out there in Columbus from 2019. And then she escaped from the Sea Organization in June 2021. And that's where our sort of stories meet up. I want to say the whole time I was in the Sea Org, I may have seen Catherine maybe 20 or 30 times when we would go down to Los Angeles. The shoot crew would go down to Los Angeles and shoot films and videos down in Los Angeles. And that's when I would see Catherine down there. But we wanted to ask you some questions, Catherine, before we went into the comment questions. Did you get your microphone all sorted?
I think so, yeah.
We can hear you fine. So
okay, fine, whatever. It just annoys me because I have this microphone and if it doesn't work, then it just why have it here?
It's okay. We can hear you fine. If people in the comments aren't able to hear you, they can let us know. But I think we can hear you fine. I can hear you.
Cool. Oh, good.
So one of the go ahead, Claire. Why don't you ask some of the questions that we were thinking of when we were talking before this?
Yes. So one question we were talking about was what did some of the what did you know about some of the significant events that were taking place after we got out? For example, in 2008, there was a lot of anonymous protests. And then we also wondered if you had knowledge of any of the lawsuits that were going on during those years.
The lawsuits were kept very much under wraps. So we didn't really hear about those. We definitely heard about the whole Debbie Cook thing. Actually, I heard about it because I tended to have my intel in a little bit better than some people did. But
and sorry, so backing up for a minute, this was, I think, December 2012 when Debbie Cook sent an open letter to all Scientologists exposing her experiences, the abuses that she was subjected to, and so forth. So what were you told, or what information did you get about that?
Well, I was in, let's see. Okay, so that was 2012, right? So
yes.
I'm trying to remember. I was somehow standing in the middle of what was called external communications at the time when the guy who was in senior HCO responsible for all communications internationally. I don't know how else to describe it, but he had this post title where he was supposedly responsible for like all telex systems, everything in every org, right? And he was actually sending out some sort of telex or briefing or something to every single org, and it was immediately after Debbie Cook had sent her email. It was probably within hours.
And just to be clear, Debbie Cook was an executive who worked in Clearwater at that giant facility that they have there in Florida, and it's called the Flag Service Organization. And she was the captain of the Flag Service Organization. And so any Scientologists that had gone all the way up the bridge to total freedom to the OT7 and the OT8s and these higher operating Thetan levels, they were all very familiar with Debbie Cook because she was an executive for decades down there. So when she left and started saying that these things that were happening and how David Miscavige was torturing Sea Org members and these sort of things, it was coming from a person that they trusted that person would be telling us the truth.
That's right.
So, and what had happened was she had connected up with some of us ex-Scientology Sea Org members, and between a bunch of people that had left, they had a mailing list of all of the top Scientologists in the world. And so Debbie Cook wrote an open letter to them. And this email, I want to say it went out to several thousand of these highest of highest Scientology people that paid money to do Scientology. And it was a big flap. And it was sent out on New Year's Eve.
That's
and
right.
We were actually at a New Year's Eve party that was being held by an ex-Sea Org member, and there was probably 20 ex-Sea Org members at this thing. And we were sort of, hey, how many names do you have? Oh, I have 800 OT8s. What do you got? Oh, I've got 2,000 OT7s. And so we were all kind of we were basically gaming this list together. And then we were like, what's this for? And like, Debbie Cook's going to send an email out. I'm like, oh, cool. Let's see how this goes.
Wow.
And so this was all happening real time on New Year's, that New Year's Eve. And then the next morning, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
All these things were happening.
Yeah.
And so go ahead. So did you read what the message that was being sent out?
I never got a chance. I didn't get a chance to see it until many years later. So after I was out, and I was like, oh yeah, I wonder what the Debbie Cook email actually said. So then I looked it up and I got to read it. But I heard about it because, like I said, I was standing in the middle of what we called external comm.
Was that in the basement of
HDB?
No,
it's not in the basement. It's on the first floor. If you if you go in the Ivar entrance, where the protesters usually hang out, external comm is right there.
The reason it's that way too is because that's where all of the traffic from international management, from the int base, it comes in and it gets sorted there, and then it goes out to the rest of the building.
And to be clear, by traffic, we don't mean cars. We mean communications.
Yeah, any dispatches or paperwork or telexes or emails, anything sent or received in the Sea Org is referred to as traffic. If you got traffic from COB, that means you got a dispatch from him, or you got some sort of communication from him.
Well, the slang they use now between like the CMO people and external comm stuff, if they have something from COB, they just say, I have traffic.
Wow.
I have traffic.
There was a time period when David Miscavige was ridiculous. Yeah, when David Miscavige was being accused of running the Sea Org. Hey, Kat.
Kitty.
When David Miscavige was being accused of running the Sea Org, he didn't want people to refer to him as Captain David Miscavige or COB. And so it came from command, or this is command intention, or Department 21. So he had lots of code names within the Sea Org. So if you said Department 21, that meant David Miscavige, and everybody knew that. Same thing with command, or whatever.
Yeah, Department 21, command. Yeah, usually they said Department 21, but the communications people would always say, I have traffic. And I was like, it was a big deal. So I was there. So I was there. And I just remember the reason I was there, because I was like, 2012, I was in the kitchen by then. What was I doing in external comm? And I was trying to remember, and I actually forgot that they actually, so before I was in the kitchen, I was in the data branch, which is the part of management which receives like all reports and dispatches and like any sort of paper, electronic, whatever from every single org. They organize it up, they index it, they like sort it so you can see it. They have like a file on every single org. It's a ridiculous amount of admin. It's utterly ridiculous. So I was there because so I was in data before I went to the galley, before I got kicked out of data and I went to the galley. And in 2012, they actually, the data people were like, so this person went on project and you're the only person who knows how to do this. And so we want you to come and cover for them for half the day, every day. Even though I was posted in the kitchen, they had me come in the afternoon and work in data. So that's why I was an external comm at the time.
Nice.
Really,
Wow.
yeah.
What about the anonymous protests? When you were in the Sea Org, you saw that too, is right?
Oh yeah.
When they were at Hollywood Boulevard, they were at the complex, they were everywhere.
Yeah. They protested me at one point at the
That's
HGV.
right.
And in the UK, there's somebody sent me a sign. I think Alex sent me a sign of the picture of one of the protesters hanging up with a sign with my name on it from the UK.
From when was that? It was like 2009, right?
2008, 2009, yeah.
Yeah, when Anonymous was protesting, your mom and your sister had come to an anonymous protest, and then your mother wrote a letter to Scientology, and Mark Bunker read that letter at a press conference that we were doing with him at I think it was called the Center for Inquiry on Sunset.
Yep.
And we did a press conference with a whole bunch of ex-Scientologists, and Mark Bunker read the letter that your mom had sent to Scientology. So
that's right. And then you remembered her name. You remembered her name when we finally connected.
That's right. Yeah, and that's how we found out who you were before you told us who you were. Okay, but then there was one other thing. What was the other thing that we saw? Oh, you saw one of Phil Jones' Call Me billboards.
That's right.
When you were in the Sea Org.
That's why I was swearing that there was one near ASI, but then he told me recently that there wasn't. And I'm like, what did I see?
It was down by KCET. Where there was one?
Maybe that was the one that I saw.
But when that happened, what did you think? Like, why would somebody be putting a billboard up?
I mean, I thought about my mom, of course, because I was disconnected from her at that point. But I was just, it made me feel, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I was like, why are people doing this? Like, why are they doing this? This is so, like, why are they harassing the Sea Org members? Like, that's kind of what I thought.
But you did think of your mom.
Oh yeah,
right. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah,
of course. I was like, because it says to my Scientology child or whatever, please call me. And I was like, oh no, go away, stop it.
Wow.
It's like, I feel so bad.
I think that's exactly what the billboard's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to make you think about your parents.
And it's so simple too.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's
crazy.
Did
you have any other questions, Claire, for her before we get into the meaty ones from the comments?
I guess my question for you, Catherine, which, we've had many conversations, but we haven't done this particular deep dive. We will link to the Escape interview that we did with you, and then the Scientology story. So if people want to listen to those more in depth as to your experiences, that would be great. I guess my question is, when would you say that cracks started to form for you, and what brought that on?
Okay, so cracks really started to form. I still have to say it was when they took my cell phone. That's when the biggest crack started. But it wasn't just that they took my phone. It was that they took my phone and then I told somebody on the outside what had happened. And when you're in the Sea Org, that's kind of probably in any cult situation. That's that's a big deal. That's a huge deal to tell somebody on the outside that something like that is happening and speak about it critically.
Yep.
Okay, let me put this. Let me see if I've got this right here. If I add this here, one of these is going to be the one. There
Yep.
it is.
There we go.
Okay,
Awesome.
so this is the first question was from Super Anxiety Chick 7035. Wow, I can't believe there were that many Super Anxiety Chicks that she had to pick 7,000. Anyway, what was the thing that started cracks in your beliefs and ending in leaving eventually? So that was it. They took your cell phone, then you talked to somebody on the outside.
Yeah, that's right.
How long between when they took that cell phone and you had contacted that person, when was that? Like what time period was that? Was that did it happen in June when you left? No, I'm saying from when you that crack started happening to when you left.
Oh, to when I left. It was exactly 1 year.
Wow.
Really?
Yay. It was exactly 1 year. Yeah. It was June.
Wow.
Yeah, like, or actually it was a year and like 2 days.
Wow.
Okay, so you started 3
days. I'm being corrected. John's sitting right here.
Hi, John.
Hey, John. So basically, from the time that happened, where you started going, "What am I doing here?" to getting out, it was about a year. So that's a good thing to know, that like even once you do something, it could take a little while for that kind of seed to grow.
And I think it could take even more, because see, I had the good fortune to be able to talk to this incredible guy over here.
If you keep referencing me, he's going to have to show his face eventually. The cat's I'm just saying.
He's trying to be quiet.
Well,
he's trying not to.
A cat's tail in my face.
He's trying not to scream as the cat runs up him, which he's done like 3 times now. Okay, so anyway, God, no, I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
No, we were talking about the length of time.
A lot of these questions will kind of lead to the next one. So we'll just go to the next one.
So, well, hold on. So one question. So Catherine, during the 27 years that you were in, you never escaped and then were brought back, right?
No.
Okay.
I thought about it. I almost did it. And
when was that?
That was in 2006.
Oh, so there were already cracks a long time before that.
Yeah, but what I didn't do this time, or I didn't do it as much, is okay. So when there was a little bit of wonderings and whatever before then, I would always be like, oh well, I just have overts. I just need to write up my overts and withholds, and it's just me. I need to get on the rails. I need to handle myself. Blah blah blah. It's just me, and I would handle myself. You know?
Right. And of course, that's the Scientology indoctrination, where you get to the point where you're doing the work yourself mentally of keeping you in, which just reinforces the physical barriers to escaping.
Yeah, because the other time where I was thinking about it was when I had been sent back to do the boot camp EPF thing, right? And they sent me to do it, and they said, okay, so I saw somebody in the evening, and they're like, you're going to go do this again. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And I was supposed to just go the next day and report in, right? And it was in a different building, different base, everything. And so I packed all my stuff, and I was like walking to the pack base from the berthing, which was like a 15-minute walk or something. And the whole time I was walking there, I was like, I could just turn down any of these streets and just walk away and just, screw it. I could do that. And I thought about that. Every street I passed, I was like, just go. No, I shouldn't. No, that's not right. No, I'm just off the road. No, don't do it. And I didn't.
Wow.
Okay, so the next one is from DJ. It says, what was your tipping point, final straw that led to escaping? How long had you been planning it for being able to leave? So that was basically a year.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't really and during that time I wasn't really doing any like planning per se. I was just like, okay, yeah, I think I want to go. Should I route out, or should I blow, or should I like route out the right way and like, do the sec check and say, I want to go, I need to do conditions and all that shit. And I was trying to decide if I was going to do that or not for a year.
Yeah. And let's just make it clear. If you're in the Sea organization and you say that you want to leave, you have to submit to interrogations and confess to every possible thing that you've ever done in the Sea Org, so that they have a record of everything bad you've done, so that if you turn on them, they can say, well, you did all these bad things, that's why you left. And also, they try to convince you to stay during all of those interrogations, and every action that you have to do leading to your leave is designed to make you stay. So it's called the staff member leaving, or was it leaving staff member routing form?
Leaving staff routing form.
Yeah.
LSRF.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. There's an abbreviation for everything in Scientology.
So that person has to go see all these different people on a checklist. It's called a routing form. It routes you to each person that you're supposed to see. And each of those people have a series of steps that they're supposed to do with you. And they're designed in a gradient fashion to make you want to stay. So,
and I think that's even stated on the routing form as the purpose of the routing form. You know, every routing form, as you said, it was a checklist of people you had to go see, things you had to do, and it had to get signed off on. But every single one of those had a stated purpose at the top.
and it always says something like, to standardly route the person through blah, 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 with the end product of, I used to be the senior routing forms in charge international.
Wow.
My posts when I was in the York.
Okay, and for anyone wondering, it's the ultimate bureaucracy.
Yes, there's a routing form for everything you do, and there's even a person who's in charge of the routing form.
Right. That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's do the next one.
Like, even if you want to take a leave of absence, there's a routing form for that.
Yeah.
So this one you kind of answered as well. This is from Dwight Schrute, 2323. Hey, Dwight, how long did you weigh whether or not to leave? So you're saying that was about a year.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there were also earlier time periods where
there were earlier times, but then I just kind of go okay, I'm just gonna get back on purpose,
Yeah.
And I never, and that's the thing too, is I never told anybody when I had those kind of thoughts, because I'm like, I don't want to go down that route, because then it's just gonna be like, you had doubts of the Sea Org and blah blah blah. They make you do conditions, or they comment you or whatever, and put you through a whole thing, and it's gonna be it'll be like basically on your record for like the rest of eternity. Oh, do you still have doubts on the Sea Org? Like, you want to like switch your job or whatever. Do you still have doubts on the Sea Org?
Yes. Right. And it was a disqualification for executive posts.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's
if you wanted to be an executive in Scientology or the Sea Organization,
or if you wanted to go to INT,
or if you wanted to go to the international headquarters, if you have ever had thoughts of leaving the Sea Organization, you're automatically disqualified. Period.
And I wanted to go to INT. I wanted to go to Gold and work on the ship crew with Mark.
Yeah. Of course, I know who Dwight Schrute is. Somebody's saying in the comments, so cute, Mark doesn't know who Dwight is. It's from The Office. Thank you very much, George. Okay.
I finished my Breaking Bad indoctrination or introduction a few years ago. I'm not into The Office yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Catherine does not know who Dwight Schrute is. Let's make a note of that. I'm very most likely Claire has no idea who Dwight Schrute is as well.
You called it.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't watched The Office either. Okay. I'm working on Mayor of Kingstown.
Okay, let's do the next one. Paul, the diecast guy, was it difficult to get out?
Was it difficult to get out? Well, for me, how do you answer that? Was it?
I have an answer while you think about that. For me,
it was easy. I just walked away. Sorry.
But for me, when you had decided, and I sent you your boarding pass the day before. For me, like, every moment of that day was 100% hair raising. That's my answer of your day. So now you get to answer.
Well, okay, I'll go from there then. So ever since you sent me from the minute you sent me the boarding pass to when I actually arrived in Colorado and got off the plane, it was really hard. That was mentally and emotionally very, very very hard. To
actually do it. I mean, you were there for 27 years. So getting you to leave all that and get on a plane and come to some people who you haven't seen in 10 or 15, 14 years or whatever. And that we've been on the outside of that bubble, on the exact wrong side of the bubble, compared to where you were.
Wrong.
It's a
quote unquote wrong.
I remember, if anybody wants, we've done at least 2 or 3 videos with Catherine on our channel where we do tell her escape story. And then we also, I think we did at least 1 or 2 episodes, Claire did with you, of Scientology stories, just different stories about stuff. If we'll put a link to those in the description, if you want to get the in-depth blow by blow of when she escaped and some of the other stories.
Graphics and everything.
Yes. Oh, and
a little plane flying across.
Yes.
That's right.
And I did want to mention too, congratulations, Catherine, on starting your own channel. That's amazing.
Oh,
and we will link to that as well in the description of this video.
Yeah, totally. I'm streaming this on my channel. I don't know if it's actually working.
Oh,
okay. Well, we'll
awesome.
See. Awesome. Okay. Let's do the next one. It's from Coffee Char. Question: did you know people were trying to assist Scientologists? And I can't see what it says. Getting out. It's a
getting out.
Getting out.
Yep.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Yep. No problem.
Catherine's trying to figure out. I think we have to do that beforehand if she wanted to stream it to her channel, maybe. But it's
no. It works.
Okay. Good. Awesome.
Nice.
So did you know people were trying to assist Scientologists and get, she's just going to leave. I think we did. Here, we'll put some comments up. We got Dr. X in the house.
Awesome. Hi, Dr. X. Hi, Dr. Paul. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Hope everyone is well. You're muted, Catherine.
Yes. Yep. Okay. We're going to put up, she's back now.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome.
No, see, I messed this up. I messed this up because I thought we were starting at 2. I was going to show John how to be my moderator. I messed the whole thing up. I had a whole.
It's all good.
It's okay.
Did you know people were trying to assist Scientologists in getting out when you were in the Sea Org?
Yes. Well, I knew that. So when the whole thing blew up with my mom, and she came to LA and she was trying to get me to leave and blah, blah, blah. Right. So after that happened, and I talked to people from OSA. I mean, I used to talk to Kirsten like several times a week, external security chief, OSA Ant, who's in charge of all this crazy stuff. She told me that it was one of the tactics that was being used to try to get people out of the Sea Org was to attack Scientology and do press releases and stuff. So you could turn. Okay, so this is going to take a lot of explanation, but it was to turn like so they call you a potential trouble source if you have a friend or especially a family member who's not agreeing with Scientology, trying to get you out, trying to talk you into getting out, or even just like Scientology sucks, I don't want to have anything to do with it. You're a potential trouble source. And they have different classes of potential trouble source. And one of them is people whose family are like rapidly attacking Scientology, right? And what it says to do is you're supposed to get them off staff. You're supposed to kick those people off staff. They're not supposed to have anything to do with Scientology. But they started not doing that because they're so desperate for members and so desperate for Sea Org members. So they started not doing that so much. And they started doing it less when Jenna Miscavige was attacking Scientology. And what are they going to do? Kick out David Miscavige because his niece is attacking Scientology? And I was even wondering that myself. I'm like, well, what's he going to do? Is he not qualified now? Like I was in my
You know what, Catherine? No one has ever brought that up before.
Really?
If you're in the Sea Org and you have a relative that is attacking Scientology, you get raked over the coals. You can get beat up because one of your family members is attacking Scientology. Yeah. David Miscavige's father.
And you would get removed from your job.
He's type C.
Yeah, his father, his brother, his what do you
His
call it?
niece.
Niece, his I mean a lot
Isn't his sister like a criminal or something? Like
his twin
his
sister
twin sister's like
is a convicted criminal.
Yeah.
His not only his niece, he has multiple nephews who've also left Scientology in the Sea Org and attacked Scientology. So David Miscavige and L. Ron Hubbard may have the most amount of family members that have attacked Scientology than any other Scientologists or
So
Sea Org
guess what?
members.
They're not qualified to be in Scientology anymore.
No one
They're
has
definitely
ever
not,
connected
and he's
us.
definitely not qualified for an executive position with that
Totally.
going
Or
on.
any services or any auditing. They're not qualified for any auditing.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
why.
crazy.
Okay, next
That is
question.
crazy. Which, by the way, to me, that just proves the point. You know, we're always asked, does David Miscavige believe in Scientology or does he not? This conversation right here documents that he does not believe in Scientology. He's definitely not doing what is written in regards to how you handle somebody who's PTS because of someone attacking Scientology in their family.
Yeah, and I should correct my statement. Tom Cruise also has a lot of relatives and ex-wives that are also in Scientology.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's right.
That
That's right.
it is a weird thing if you think about it, that the people that are most famous or the highest in Scientology all don't apply Scientology to their situation.
Yeah.
They don't use communication to sort out their family, or it is just a weird kind of crazy thing.
Yeah.
The next comment is from 321 Spirit. Says, what statement do you feel would help current Scientology members that are thinking about leaving?
I was thinking about this when I saw this question, and what statement? Okay, she's being way too bouncy. I'm sorry. What statement?
Like what information? Like was there?
Yeah.
What things planted seeds in your, like, even though they took your phone and then you started talking, but like when you were talking with John in the outside world and you told him, hey, they took my phone, he said, that's illegal. They can't take something that's yours that you paid for with your money. They can't take it, especially if it's a device that allows you to communicate with the outside world. It's illegal for them. Was it him saying they're doing things that are illegal, like they're violating your rights as a citizen?
I got it. The thing that helped the most was comparing it to an abusive relationship.
Okay.
Nice. And really carefully comparing it, and not just saying, oh, they're abusing you. You're in an abusive relationship. It was like, in an abusive relationship, blah, 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 blah. This is what happens, blah, 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 blah. And paralleling it to what's happening in the Sea Org. Or also, when he said something like, when people are trafficked, this is what happens, blah, 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 blah. And it's like what happens in the Sea Org. Like, you get moved around without your consent, or you're made to work like these ridiculous hours where you can't even think about doing anything else because you're too tired and in pain from working so much that you can't even think about leaving, which is how I felt a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically overworking you, that your mental facilities aren't strong enough for you to make a big decision like that, because you're basically in apathy mentally. You're just beaten down. So you're not going to be, and also, to be fair, if you did leave, it's where do I go? How do I get a job? So there's all that that's also playing in the background, is I'm going to have nothing and no one. And my family, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go to my family, because that bridge already got burned with them 15 years ago, or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Because either you have family that are in Scientology or in the Sea Org, and you're like, well, I'm not going to tell any of them because then I'll just get reported on or lose them or whatever. Or you have people that are not in, and you're like, how do I explain that? Like, I'm not ready to just go to them. Like, that's how I felt. I'm like, I wasn't ready to just go to, like, run to my family and be like, can you help me? It's like people I hadn't talked to in like so many years, except for like my 92-year-old grandmother. I'm like, I'm not going to go ask my 92-year-old grandmother if she can help me get out of the Sea Org. I'm like, no, that's too much for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the isolation and the lack of known resources to Sea Org members on the inside is a huge barrier. I mean, even for me, even when Mark, when you escaped, I had no idea how I was going to contact you. and I, I came up with various plans, but ultimately I realized I couldn't do it without help from the outside. So I think for a Sea Org member to learn that there is help and learn that there is hope is huge. And I think even just asking a Sea Org member questions like, well, are you happy with your life right now? Are you at peace with not having any contact with your family? Asking questions, I think, is a good way to just start the plant the seed and start the process of, well, am I happy? Am I free? Am I doing what I set out to do with my life? Things like that.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Awesome.
That was one of the things for me. I'm just not happy here. That's why I was not first thinking of leaving, but that's what contributed a lot to me wanting to go, was simply that I'm just personally not happy.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's do the next one. From Diana Romo 728. Has the Church of Scientology changed its stance on Sea Org members having children now that Scientology's numbers are dwindling?
No, and in fact, okay, so there's been several kind of phases of this through the years, and different things that get done, as people know, they
let's be very careful about the words. We will say terminate a pregnancy.
Oh.
We will not say the other word.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so if
Just for YouTube. Sorry, guys.
If somebody gets pregnant, they're encouraged to end that. They're encouraged to. That used to be like the standard operating basis. You need to go get rid of that.
And this is for Sea Org members that are married and that have relations.
Yeah.
If they become pregnant, or the female becomes pregnant, then the female is encouraged to do that. And then how did that change? So that used to be the way it was when we were there, and girls went to the clinic all the time. And sometimes there was one clinic, I think it was the clinic in Riverside, near the international base, that when the medical officer would bring people there, she would bring a van of girls there, and they would do all of them in one trip. And the clinic was like, this is really inappropriate that you're bringing a van of people here to do this.
Yeah. And to add to that, by the way, before we escaped, there was a woman that worked at that Riverside clinic who spoke out about this. And she actually participated in a German documentary that was being done to expose Scientology abuses. And thereafter, they switched to a different clinic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, but then what is the next phase? Because I know of a phase I heard of. So if you don't say that, I'll say that. But
okay,
go ahead.
So the next phase was, okay, if you're pregnant, then we're going to, and you're in the Sea Org, then we're going to send you to a class 5 org with your kid, and then you can come back when your kid is old enough.
And so I have a question about that, because there was a document that alleged, even during the time that we were there, that was an option. That was just never an option that was enforced. But what I recall it saying was that a Sea Org member would be sent to a lower organization that was not Sea Org. And when the child turned 6 years old was when they would be brought back.
Well,
it was 6 years old. It was 6 years old for a little while. And then I think it changed to 10 years old.
Yeah, but it also wasn't a lower organization. It specifically said it had to be a small failing organization.
Yes.
And this was,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that. You're right.
And what had happened was they were sending Sea Org members to Los Angeles organization, or the San Diego one, and these other ones. And what ended up happening was Sea Org members figured out, if we have a kid, we can just go somewhere nice where we don't have to work all day and all night. We can just work on a part-time schedule. And then what happened was, it was like, no, this is no longer going to happen. The policy says a small failing organization. So instead of going to a place that was like they could get some cushy job and just come in for a few hours each day, they'd have to go to, Ottawa, and there's 8 people on staff there, and they're like now the executive director of that organization, not some busy work thing. So
I was replaced in Portland by 2 people, by a couple like that when I joined Sea Org.
Portland would be considered a small failing organization, I think. I don't know Portland, what time or when it was, but then I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard, now I'm trying to couch this. Okay. We have helped people leave the Sea Org since we've helped Catherine. So even though Catherine is the most recent one that we're doing a Q&A with about the Sea Org, we have helped other people recently. One of these people told me that now they're just making the dudes get snipped. They're not even worried about
so I needed to finish the next phases.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so the next phases were, so they stopped doing that at one point. I don't remember when they stopped doing it. I think they stopped doing it because everyone who they did it to ended up.
When you say did it, I don't know what you're talking about, sending to the org, or you're talking about the snipping. Those are 2 very different things. Going to Ottawa and getting snipped are not on the same agenda, unless you're going to Ottawa to get snipped.
Okay. So they stopped sending Sea Org members to lower orgs, class 5 orgs. They stopped doing that. And I think the reason they stopped doing it was because they would send people and they would just leave staff and just disappear. That's what happened to the 2 people that replaced me. They left. So they weren't sticking to it. So, excuse me. So the next phase was, or maybe kind of happening at the same time, was encouraged to terminate, and your husband better get snipped so it doesn't happen again. This is this is what happened to B Mood. I don't know if you guys remember her. She was
absolutely. The Aftermath Foundation helped her too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what happened to her and her husband. So
wow. And then, so basically in the end, so the answer to the question is no, they still don't want
no. Hold on.
In the Sea Org.
No, they haven't changed their stance. Okay, so then the most recent one is, okay, you're just gonna leave. You guys are just leaving. You're no longer qualified for the Sea Org. You're gonna leave. Bye.
If they get pregnant now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't say, they're not encouraging people to terminate pregnancies, because they probably still are. And I know somebody in 2004, who's a friend of mine, who's now out of the Sea Org for different reasons, who got pregnant, and it was accident, and she's like, oh my God, I don't want to leave. And so she terminated on her own. Like, she decided herself, but she felt awful after that. She felt so bad, and she ended up leaving. She ended up leaving the Sea Org. Like, I don't know, it was probably like 6 years later or something, but she's just like, this was awful. I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Not good.
It's crazy that, so 2009 to 2012 was the time period that our lawsuit was pending. And one of the causes of action in our lawsuit was forced termination. And as one of the documents that we submitted as part of that was a list that I compiled of 56 women that I personally knew had been forced to go through that, including some of those, 3 women in particular that had been forced to do it 4 to 6 times. And so it's just interesting and obviously it's an absolute abominable practice that you would never expect from an alleged quote unquote church, which it just proves that they're a cult. They control, they dominate, they leverage people.
Yeah.
But it's even I mean, how crazy is it that they're saying, oh, come back into the Sea organization with a 6-year-old child or a 10-year-old child, even that. Like my youngest son is 11. Like, are you kidding me? No way does any child belong in a toxic, destructive environment like that. I'm just saying, anyway, not to go off on a soapbox, but yeah.
Yeah. So the answer is they don't. This is a very good question that comes up all the time, is if they are losing members and they can't get new members, that's sort of a no-brainer. Have your members make some new members.
Right. And that's what other
I think
organizations, other churches, they're all about. Bring in your entire family, bring in your kids. When your kids are born, they'll get baptized. And of course, but we're drawing a line because it's not a religion. That's the difference.
Also, a lot of that backfired on them, because almost if you think about almost everyone who is at the ranch and a lot of the people at the Int Ranch, those kids, when they grew up, they're like, I don't want to do this. Get me out of here. Like almost everyone at the Pack Ranch, or like those kids were like, they were like hitchhiking to LA to try to go and see their parents, and just blowing the place completely. They're like, I'm not doing this. I'm getting out of here. So that also backfired too, like trying to force them to be there.
And it was absolutely the same. Obviously, I was in the cadet org in England from 4 years old to 10 years old, and it was the same. They had so much lack of adult supervision that sometimes the kids would just run away and end up homeless and other awful atrocities. But
yeah, I remember hearing about this kid, like literally like once a week or once a month or something, he would be found on the side of the highway trying to hitchhike his way back to LA to see his dad. He's like, I want to see my dad. I want to see my dad. I want to get out of here.
Wow.
Like, repeatedly from the Pack Ranch. Ugh. Yeah, it was horrible.
Okay, next question. Coffee Char again. Are you aware that there are only 20,000 Scientologists worldwide?
Yep.
What are your greatest needs right now? So happy you are free. What are your greatest needs right now?
Greatest needs. My greatest needs right now. Oh, but she fell asleep in his arms. That's so cute. Oh, my cat is sleeping in my husband's arms. It's really cute. My greatest needs. I don't know. I mean, I feel like many of my greatest needs have been met and are being met just by having a life, having this wonderful man who's next to me.
Were you aware that there was only 20,000 Scientologists?
I have chickens.
Oh, yay. Nice. You have chickens. That's amazing.
They're so cute. Goodness. Oh my God. Anyway,
were you aware that there was only 20,000 Scientologists worldwide?
Was I aware? I was being literal, because it says, "Are you aware?" So
no, but were you aware?
No.
What did you think? How many Scientologists did you think when you were in the Sea Org?
I thought there was probably like 40,000 Scientologists.
Oh, but not millions, like they tell all the Scientologists.
No, I knew that was PR.
Yeah,
it's not millions of Scientologists. No,
PR, otherwise couched as lies. Unprecedented expansion. We are on the watershed of history.
We're on the precipice of the greatest boom in Scientology.
I love how she thought there's not 20,000. There's 40,000. I thought there was 40,000 at least, Yeah,
because I mean, I used to work in data, so I have some of these numbers in my head a little bit, but because of that's mostly because of the event attendance around the world. If you add up all the event attendance around the world, it's if you get it up there, it gets up to almost 40,000, or it used to get up to almost 40,000 people.
Exactly, it used to, and you know how it works. Everybody pads their stats. They add, if there was 500 people there was 900 people there. So if you get,
because if they know they didn't trouble.
And of course, someone brings their dog, then that's an attendee, and also event attendance included every single member of the Sea organization and automatically. Staff. And staff. Exactly. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, good. Okay.
You know,
Next
they
one.
had to, you know, they had to stop using the what's it called? What's the place called where they did the 1993 event?
The LA
Sports
Sports
Arena.
Arena.
Yeah. So anyway, LA Sports Arena doesn't exist anymore, but when it did exist, they did a couple of more events there. They had to stop using it because they couldn't fill the seats.
That's
Couldn't
right.
fill the seats, and it just looked so bad because there were so many empty seats, so they couldn't use it anymore. And even when they use the shrine, they don't show the whole place. They don't show like the very top. They just
I
show
don't show the
bottom.
balcony
Yeah.
because the
They make
balconies
sure
are
it's filled up.
always
They have people standing at the doors telling people, come, sit down here, sit down here, sit down here.
And let's not forget to mention either, because it's been a practice they were doing it when we were still there, that in all the photos of the events, they Photoshop people in.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years. It was a big flap when we were there that they were doing that.
God.
Crazy.
Oh boy. Okay,
Yeah,
what's the next one?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Next one. Oh, that was the next one. Valeska Truax. What are the most surprising things you found out about the outer? What does it say?
Outside. I'll read them, honey.
Yeah.
What
My
were the most
slide
surprising?
thing covers up the text at the very end there.
It's all good. I was supposed to read them anyway. I forgot.
Yeah.
What were the most surprising things you found out about the outside world after you escaped?
How nice everybody is.
I agree with that completely.
There's so many nice people. There's so many competent people. It's not just a bunch of like out ethics, off purpose, what's the other one?
Criminals.
Dilettante.
Dilettante, criminal, druggies. Anyway, no, it's not.
Valeska commented and she said, I kind of thought you might say that.
There's so many great people out here. There really are.
There are. I know.
There's shitty people too, and there's annoying people, just like in the Sea Org. But there's so many great people out here.
Completely. I was so deeply inspired by Anonymous personally, because to me, we were speaking out, and it was terrifying because we had young children. Now we had a target on our backs, but to see these thousands of people who had never had any involvement in Scientology step up to the plate and say, no, Scientology, this is wrong. What you're doing is abusive. That was, to me, I just kind of had this moment back then, like, who am I to be afraid? These people never had anything to do with Scientology, and yet they're standing up. So I'm in this.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And also finding out that all of the or many of the of the ex-members and ex-Scientologists, ex-Sea Org members they're just the greatest freaking people. I don't know what to say. Like you and Mark and Mike and like all these people I've met since I've been out or I've reconnected with or connected with, they're just great people. It's just they're the exact opposite of what Scientology says that they are.
Yeah. Scientology does not only the ex-members, but Scientology and specifically the Sea Org, they paint a very bleak picture of the outside world. Like if you went out there, you would have a horrible life because there's criminals everywhere and just everyone's out to kill each other. And that's how they portray the outside world. So it's when you leave and people are nice to you, it is actually kind of shocking to you that people are so nice.
Completely.
It takes a while to get used to how nice people are outside of Scientology. In Scientology, people are horrible to each other, like backstabbing, turn you in, rat you out, you name it. Everybody is watching everybody and everything they do. And if anybody does anything out of line, they report you. And so you're constantly being spied on by everyone around you. So is that accurate of how the Sea Org was when you left,
Yeah,
Catherine?
you can think you have friends, but then if I think about it, if I think about it, if I told any of those people what I was really thinking, or that I was thinking about leaving or thinking about doing something else with my life, they would report me immediately.
Right.
I couldn't, like you can't confide in anybody, even if you think it's your friend. You can't confide in them. They're just going to report you.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't
Totally.
think I've met one person in the outside world that's as evil and like just out to ruin your life than 100 people that I knew in the Sea organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was at the international headquarters, which is a little bit more, that's the most dog eat dog place of the entire Sea Org is the base. But even still, there's a lot of people that even if they left, I might be like, okay, I'll help you, but we're not going to be friends. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Let's do the next
Yeah.
one.
Okay, I got this one. So Rain Meyer 2942. What's known of the actual statistics of the Scientology? Total members, active members, services delivery as versus pure donations, money like to the IAS, financial solvency of local orgs. Reportedly, over half in the Western US were having to be bailed out during the pandemic just to stay open. And how has that changed since the Chase wave and the pandemic? Great question.
Well, I know that since the Chase wave, or during the Chase wave, which I would consider mid 2019, beginning of 2019 was when it really became a thing, and I think that was when there was IRS agents that walked into Cincinnati org because of what was being done with credit and various things like that. I don't have the whole story financially what happened, but I'm pretty sure that's when that happened. So mid 2019, I mean, almost all the orgs just crashed. Like their income crashed out, and a lot of it was because they were stopping this Chase wave thing, but they were also taking people off registrar posts, and they were taking people off who were doing a lot of the income generating type
The,
of actions.
credit card fraud.
Yeah, they were doing. Yeah, well, yes, credit card fraud, but also bringing in income for the organization in like maybe legitimate ways as well,
Okay.
including credit card fraud, but in other ways, whatever. The people that were working on all that were busted, were taken off completely, and so they effectively crashed all the orgs, including Flag. Flag was making like a couple million or something per week, and then they went down to like $200,000 or something. They completely crashed, and then when the pandemic hit, I mean, I can only speak to what was happening in Columbus because I wasn't in management at that point, but we were one of the orgs that was doing the best, because we were made up of Sea Org members. So, and all we were doing was sitting in our apartments and calling the public to ask them to donate money. And so we somehow kept afloat, and somehow were able to, like, everyone was being fed, and the rent was still being paid for us to live there. So, but the other orgs, I don't know what they did, because they had to close the org, and then the staff were not being on staff, and they had to support themselves somehow. So a lot of those orgs crashed as well.
Let me ask you this, Catherine, because I've wondered about this, and we have heard from other people that have given us pieces of this, but how much were you making a week when you were working in Columbus? How much were you being paid per week?
I was being paid Sea Org pay, $46 a week.
Okay, so you were getting $46 a week. Are you aware of any Scientology organizations getting the what was it called, the PPP loans from the government to support, like they were getting paid because they had to hire people? Do you know
I
anything
heard
about
about
this?
that after I was out. So
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
these organizations, and I guarantee you, the organization that Catherine was at did it. But basically, what they did was they wrote off all those people that were on staff as working 40 hours a week at a minimum wage or regular wage.
Mhm.
And they got that money to replace the wages they would have had to pay out, as if they were paying all these people minimum wage. And then they were giving them $46. So Scientology during the pandemic was making money by making false PPE loans claims across all over the United States to the tunes of many, many millions of dollars. And
Wow.
at some point, that may come to play in the next future months or years. You might see something about that, but
Wow.
I didn't know. I never put the two together because you were there during when everything was shut down,
Yeah.
and so you didn't get any extra money or you didn't get any extra pay during that period.
No.
That you're
I got my stimulus
100%. You got your what?
I got my stimulus payment.
How much did you get as a stimulus check?
We got whatever else everyone else got. It was like $1,200 and then $600.
Is that how you bought the phone?
No, I got it before then.
What'd you buy with all
Wow.
that? That's like
That's a lot of
10
money for a
years.
Sea Org member.
I know, it was great. I borrowed money from somebody. I bought, as soon as I got that, I bought my new iPod, and that's what helped me escape.
Yeah,
Nice.
the iPod is what you bought when you got the stimulus check.
So the stimulus funds stimulated you to leave, in other
That's
words.
Wow. Okay. I think this might be the last one.
Okay.
Jojo
Here, I got
Granum.
I got it. Jojo Granum. Is the RPF actually gone, or did they just come up with another name for it? Like, for example, they claim there is no quote unquote fair game policy, but they still practice it.
Oh, I've been wanting to answer this for a while because I keep hearing people talk about it.
Yeah.
So the RPF as the RPF does not exist anymore on any base. They don't. No one says RPF. We were told that it was being gotten rid of because Sea Org members should be able to be handled by HCO and Qual. Like
Let's
HCO.
just be clear for anybody who's listening.
So
The
sorry.
The RPF is the Rehabilitation Project Force, and inside the Sea Org, it's basically like a full-time labor camp that misbehaving Sea Org members are sent to. So if you have relations before you're married, or you do credit card fraud and it gets caught, or any of these things, that is an assignment. You will be assigned to the Rehabilitation Project Force. Yeah. Okay. And
by the way, it's a program that was created by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah. And in the past, they've disbanded some of the locations. There used to be one at the international headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs, and then it was moved to where the children were at the ranch near there. But there's been several Sea Org bases where they've reportedly canceled the RPF, and they no longer have an RPF. So that is where this question is coming from. So continue, Catherine.
So there was someone who left the Sea Org recently who I spoke to about this specific thing as well. And what he said was that they canceled their RPF because of the Golden Age of the whatever it was called, Golden Age of Tech 2, where they revised more of the materials and did this whole we have new stuff now type thing. And they were saying how the RPF was not it wasn't standardly being done, and so we can't do it per Golden Age of Tech 2 or whatever. So that was the reason that they were told. And I never heard that as a thing, but he apparently did. So.
But when you left, did you know of any RPF locations that were still in operation?
No.
They do not have a RPF. And when you were last in Los Angeles was in 2017? 2019. So as of 2019, there was no RPF in Los Angeles anymore.
But what they do now is they put people like on the decks. They put people decks.
Yeah, that's a Sea Org term based
for
on
heavy manual labor.
When there used to be the Sea Org was at sea, the people that had got assigned to the decks were the people that swabbed the decks and chipped the paint and did all that. So in the Sea Org, even to this day, if you get assigned to hard labor, it's called being assigned to the decks.
Right. So they put people on that, and it's essentially an easier form of the RPF.
It's RPF. It's a Temu RPF. It's RPF light.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of people on it, and it seems worse because there's no set program that they do, or there's no set, not worse, but it's
just the RPF by a different name.
They don't have a way to get off. They're not told like do A, B, C, D, auditing and conditions and whatever, and you're done. It's just like somebody can just like put you on the decks like infinite, like for like
Forever. Yeah, there's no when you're on the
Yeah.
RPF, there's a finite state of statements that if they are true, then you can graduate the RPF. Some people take a year or 2 years or 3 years. Some people have been I've known people that've been on the RPF for over a decade. So, and you're just working, you're mainly a construction workforce. There was one point, I want to say it was in the late 90s or the early 2000s, when the RPF in Los Angeles, it was referred to as the PAC RPF, was the second largest Sea Org organization outside of Florida, outside of the FSO. That the
like
FSO,
200 people there.
yeah, they had,
Yeah.
I think it was up to 300 and something people at one
That was
point
ridiculous.
that were on the RPF and PAC, and there was a lot of construction happening back then. And people used to say you could always tell when there's a lot of construction happening is because the RPF is in the multiple hundreds of people. And so if the construction projects were falling behind, somehow miraculously more people would be being assigned to the RPF to work on construction.
Well, you know what they did in LA, and then when the whole chase wave thing blew up, because they busted tons of people around that. The missionaires, they busted just tons of people from all over the place, and they were all like on the decks type thing, right? So then when it became a thing of like, we have to send people to Kansas City because we don't have enough staff and we need to open the org, we need to send people to Kansas City, we need to send people to Columbus. They took all those people and sent them to Kansas City.
The people that were on the decks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's take the people that don't want to be here and send them somewhere where it's much easier for them to not be here.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is another thing that we know that happens is when, and you had kind of alluded to it earlier, but if you were in trouble or if you wanted to leave, if you got pregnant or you got assigned to a lower org or you went to the RPF, it was actually one of the ways you could kind of weasel out and disappear one day. And it was like, they were on the RPF. Who cares? We're not going to miss them, kind of thing. And it was a way. It was kind of a quiet way of just leaving out the back door.
Yeah. Sure. I think it's worth mentioning too, in regards to the chase wave, because we've been told this by several people who left more recently, that it was very intentional for them to take all those, anyone and everyone who was committing credit card fraud, put them on heavy manual labor, and then just leave them there to sit while time passed by so that they couldn't be made into, for example, like testify and be put in the witness protection program, for example.
Yeah, no, that is true. They do move people around. Like you said, with like when the Lisa McPherson thing happened, those people disappeared from Clearwater and they ended up back at the Ent base. So there were I want to say it was 2 or 3 people that were directly involved with the Letha, a woman who passed away in Clearwater in the hands of Scientology.
Yeah, Lisa McPherson's wrongful death, which took place at the Fort Harrison in, I think, December 1995.
Yeah, so the people that were directly involved with that from the Religious Technology Center, they came to the Ent base and became dishwashers.
Yep.
And they remained dishwashers until that lawsuit was done, but they were unavailable for comment in the galley washing dishes. And if anybody went to the Clearwater location and said, hey, where's this person? They go, oh, that person doesn't work here anymore. We don't know where that person went. So they've done that. They did that with Angie LeClaire, who...
No, Angie Trent. Angie LeClaire is somebody else.
Yeah, they did that with Angie LeClaire in the Danny Masterson suit.
Right, yeah.
When she was one of the people that was witnesses to the things that Danny Masterson had done, because she was reading all the reports from all his auditing session and directing all the victims and doing all that stuff. She had worked at Celebrity Center for decades, and then all of a sudden she disappeared and she didn't work there anymore. And somehow she popped up in Kansas City doing stuff there. So they do this at
she's one
different.
of the Kansas City staff.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's so funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah. So this all kind of ties together, guys. This
Yep.
is all one big
And if they
mess.
want, they can send people down to Australia. I mean, they sent Jenna and Dallas down to Australia at one point.
Yeah, they did that with Ricky Jensen as well, who was one of the RTC people involved in the Lisa McPherson wrongful death. She
That's
went to
right.
Australia too.
That's right. When they,
Yep.
I think the other two stayed at the property, but you're right. Ricky Jensen was sent to do the RPF in Australia.
Right.
That's how far. And there were people from the international headquarters that messed up. They were scanning an LRH original negatives to make into full videos. And they scanned, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of frames of film that had to get scanned and then cleaned, and then they restored them and they did all this. Well, the guys that scanned those, they scanned them at the wrong resolution. So after years and years and years of retouching every single frame and doing it, and then when they went to go final it and put it out the video, they're like, oh, this thing's the wrong resolution. Oh yeah, those guys that scanned it wrong. So for like the last 5 years of retouching was just a giant waste of everyone's time. So those guys were, the story that I heard from somebody who left was that was 3 gentlemen, Nikki Cifarelli, I think Paul Witcher,
And Kip Engen.
and maybe Paul Eves as well. I can't remember, but they were sent to the Australian RPF, and they were supposed to do the RPF 3 times over. So they would
Right.
go through the RPF, however long that takes. Like I said, some people do it in a couple of years, some people do it in 10 years. When they were done, they would start all over again, and they had to do that 3 times.
I was going to ask if Tara Beanie was involved in that. Do you remember Tara Beanie?
Tara Igo, yep.
Yeah, Tara Igo, Tara Beanie. She was the establishment exec right, for a while.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
she
right.
lasted at the Ent base, I want to say, a couple of years at best.
At best. Chris Beanie, her husband, lasted about 30 minutes.
Yeah, he literally there's stories. There's a group of people. There's a list of people rather that their story. It's like when you get to the international base, they tell you, okay, this is kind of like somebody tells you, like, don't do this, don't do that, if you see David Miscavige, it's yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, like don't say anything unless he asks you. There was a guy who was a security guard, and he was up at one of the studios, and the phone rang, and he had been at the property for like a few months, and he picked up the phone. He goes, hello, and it was David Miscavige. David Miscavige said, who's this? And the security guard was like, what? He's like, who's this? And then David Miscavige goes, no, seriously, tell me who you are right now. And the security guard goes, I'm the baddest motherfucker on this property. Who the fuck are you? And David Miscavige said, well, I know that's not true, because I'm the baddest ass motherfucker on this property, and you're not going to be here in about 10 minutes. And he was gone. They literally had somebody pick him up, and they drove him away from the property. But there's a lot of stories like that. And Chris Beanie was one of those people. I think he had just got there, and David Miscavige walked into wherever he was when he was getting his orientation or whatever, and he'd literally been there, I want to say, an hour. David Miscavige walks in the meeting and goes, that guy's got something going on. He needs to get out of here. And he just
got hauled out of there.
Literally just got there. And then they took him, and then they found it out he didn't want to be there, and he wanted, and then
wow.
And then Tara had to stay. After that happened, his wife, she stayed there. And then I want to say a year later, she was gone, or maybe not even a year. I used to live with Tara Igo when I was not in the Sea Org. Her family I stayed with, and they got recruited into the Sea Org. And then I ended up having to move in with some other folks. This is all in my book in excruciating detail. But then that person that I was staying with got, recruited for the Sea Org, and I just tapped out. I was like, I'm 15, having to pay rent and figure out where to live, and every place I get gets the rug pull on me from Sea Org members. So, yeah. But so when she showed up at the Ent base, I was like, oh, look who's here. Anyway, you guys, do we want to do some questions and then do the giveaways?
Sure. Yeah, let's
Also,
do that.
there was a question. I sent you a private chat, Claire, but because there was a question
Oh,
that I remember that from the list that I wanted to answer that wasn't in the question.
oh, okay. Let me find that real quick. You can pull up questions and I'll find that question.
Okay, good. Here we go. George says, question, how many people think of this as a job that they can't resign from for the fear of not being able to land another job rather than religion?
I can't resign from.
It's true. You don't think you can resign from.
Yeah, no, you don't think you can resign.
No.
You think you're treasonous if you resign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically illegal in Scientology for you to resign from the Sea Org. It's the ultimate thing to do to show your dedication to join the Sea Org, and it's the ultimate betrayal to leave the Sea Org, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Oh, this is in Ottawa. This is Ottawa Smackdown. This is also Jojo Granum, I think. The same. I recognize the avatar possibly. This was in the 90s. There was only 4 staff there. That was Ottawa's. Ottawa, I used to live in Ottawa, went to Carleton, was in CF reserves there. I think Petawawa is worse than Ottawa, but that's just me. The only reason I ever bring up Ottawa is because David Miscavige, when we were playing musical chairs, he was threatening to send people to Ottawa. And then he showed us a whole bunch of pictures of like really nasty, dirty toilets in Canada. So I've always had this idea of the Sea Org toilets in Canada were pretty nasty. So maybe don't go there.
Okay, here, I have the question Catherine was wanting to answer. Did you know who Mark Yeager, Ray Midoff, and Shelley Miscavige were while you were in the Sea Org? Did you know who Mark Yeager, Ray Midoff, and Shelley? Oh, that's a duplicate.
Yeah.
When and how did you decide to leave, and how did you pull off the Great Escape? So the first part, did you know Mark Yeager, Ray, and Shelley?
Yes, I knew them. And I wanted to say that Mark Yeager came with Jenny Linson probably 2017, maybe 16. Anyway, they came to do a project in OSA, and they ended up being posted in OSA International. And I was told, I mean, everybody thought, oh, senior executives and whatever, right? And I was working in the galley at the time, and I was told after like, I don't know, 6 months or a year or something by the ethics officer in OSA, she came and specifically told me they are not senior executives. They are to receive no special service. They're just regular OSA staff. And
oh, you mean from the food service? Because
yeah,
so
don't
let's
give them
explain.
anything special.
Executives, everybody, all the Sea Org members, they eat 3 times. They eat a breakfast, they eat a lunch, and they eat a dinner. And the Sea Org provides that. For senior executives, so if you're an executive from the Ant base and you travel to Los Angeles, you could get a plate of strawberries, maybe some fruit snacks. You maybe get some little muffins or something. In throughout the day, the senior executives get these they get a little bit. I mean, it's not a 5-star, Catherine, but it's a little extra.
Excuse me.
So, Catherine, what year was this that Mark Yeager and Jenny were in OSA?
That was, I want to say 2017, 2018, but they were still there when I left.
Yeah.
Wow.
When did
I
you shoot
wonder.
the Louis Theroux documentary, Claire?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I was wondering if this coincides with when Mark Yeager and Jenny attacked Marty Rathbun at LAX. If they were actually OSA at that time, they probably were. That's probably why they were even.
Yeah, because for quite a while, ever since I don't remember when the Nashville org opened, but ever since Nashville org opened, there was a parade of projects by staff in OSA. First, it was Hansuli, Marion Powell, Mike Sutter. They were all doing a project right after that.
Yeah, that involved them going and trying to get all of our friends to rat on us. That was what that project was. We're very
aware. We're very aware of that project because we were being briefed by the people that they were meeting with each day a lot of those people, they would say, no, you can talk to whoever you want, but you better not talk to Mark and Claire because they're really, really hardcore evil.
Yeah.
And then they do the meeting with Tommy Davis or Melissa, was it Melissa Feshback?
It was Jessica Feshback.
Jessica Feshback. And then they would call us and say, I just finished meeting with Tommy. And then they'd tell us what happened. And
Or
we'd
Hansuli or Marion. We've heard so many stories about that project from the recipients of the project.
yeah. So the Louis Theroux
parade of there was a parade of these guys, and then the latest ones were Mark and Jenny. So
yeah, the Louis Theroux movie was in 2015.
Okay.
So that's when we did the Louis Theroux movie. And directly after the Louis Theroux movie is when, or during it, when the video came out and when the movie came out, because we worked on the movie for like at least a year.
That was a really good one, by the way. I loved it when he went to the Gold, when you guys were at the Gold, or on the side of the road outside of Gold,
yes.
And he was like, no, you stop filming me. No, you stop filming. No, you stop filming. And he's got such good manners. He's just like, why are you yelling at me? And she's like, just like lost it on him.
Oh, I got to show you.
So listen, I have to say something. So I looked up the Jenny Linson LAX attack of Marty Rathbun, and it was 2016, approximately 2015. So it's very likely that this OSA trip was a punishment for that.
Maybe,
yeah.
Mitch Brisker says Hansuli and Mike Sutter are now grunts on the film crew.
There you go.
Yeah, I believe it.
Wow.
I believe it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not the first time that's happened. Hansuli was a dishwasher for years.
Yep. He was in the galley. Hansuli Stali, who was this big bad executive in Religious Technology Center for many, many years. He was the dishwasher in Golden Era Productions. And how hard they fall. I'm going to put this up from Dr. X.
Oh, Dr. X.
Hi, guys. So glad to see Catherine doing so well since leaving. How many different posts did you actually have while in Scientology? Which post did you like and which one was the worst? Did you have more than one at once? Why people to Australia for the RPF? I'll answer the last part really quickly, Dr. X. They would send people to Australia so that David Miscavige would never see them ever, ever again. And that's the only reason. That's also people would be sent to Canada for the same reason, nowhere near any of the main organizations that he would visit on a regular basis. All right, Catherine, I'll leave you to answer the questions for you.
Can you put up the question again?
It was how many posts, which was your favorite, which was your worst, and did you have more than one?
Okay, so let's see. Let me run through this really fast. Senior. Okay, so I was senior. Should I say what they were?
You can say, but I'll explain the abbreviations because you guys are throwing out abbreviations full time, and you assume everyone. Some people might be here for the first time, so you kind of have to explain it. If you say it, I'll do the explain.
Okay, good. So I was senior Sea Org recruitment officer international. I was senior routing forms international. I was senior personnel officer international. And then I was in data. I was the data collection officer. That was my only post in data. I was on project getting people for INCOM for a year.
INCOM is the International Network of Computerized Management. That is the Sea Org computer department.
Yeah. So after all the stuff with INCOM blew up, which I found out after I blew, and I found out actually what happened with INCOM, which I thought was fascinating. Right after that, I was on a project to get programmers recruited for INCOM because they fired everybody.
Which one did you like the best out of all those?
Wait, I'm not done. So then I was in data, and then I was in the galley. I was the crew steward. I was the exec steward. I was the deputy chief steward. And then I was in Columbus as the director of public promotion. So what did I like the best?
That's a lot of posts, by the way. That's more posts. That's more posts than I had by double.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same for me.
So I think there was two I liked. I liked the one in Columbus. And I liked working in the kitchen until I was like, the only part I didn't like about working in the kitchen was that I messed up my back. I actually have a stress fracture in my back now from working in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
It was very, very physically demanding, but I was able to but I was able to indulge my creative streak being in the kitchen. And I got left alone a lot by a lot of the executives in HCO and stuff. I mostly got left alone because they didn't have time to. They were busy with other things, and they didn't care about the person who was in charge of food. And so I just got left alone a lot of the time.
It's a good place to lay below the radar. The galley is sort of like, if you need to be out of sight, out of mind, the galley is a good place to do that, because nobody wants to go in there for any reason whatsoever. They just want to eat the food.
Yeah, and plus, everything that's happening on the base if you work in the kitchen.
Yep.
It's the crossroads of the Sea Org is whatever that goes. Because also when people get in trouble, that's the first place they send them to, as like a holding zone. Like, you're in trouble, you suck, you can't be seen by anybody. They send you to the galley, go wash dishes until we figure out what we're going to do with you.
Or to grounds.
And
well, the HCB doesn't have grounds that much. They have more galley than they have.
They do have estates people, but and like who's sitting at the CO's table and who's not, and who's like, everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything like that.
Who hasn't been seen in the dining room for months and months, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Plus, you're working with services CMO.
Yeah, so who's not getting the special snacks anymore.
And stuff from there, like chattering about stuff.
Yeah. And
I see all the time.
Yeah, and the executives who've been ordered to lose significant amounts of weight directly by David Miscavige.
Yes.
Yes, like Tracy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Tracy Danilovich. Boom. Okay. Hello, Lone.
All right. I've got the comments. When David Miscavige drops his body, who do you think will take over?
I got that one.
Yep.
I think it's going to be between like from what I saw being in middle management and how much middle management is doing now because there's no in management. What I think is it's going to be somebody like Nora, not Nora, sorry. She's got a sister named Nora. Molly
Savage.
It was Molly Savage, but now it's Molly Hartling.
Okay. Oh, because she's married to Jason Hartling.
Yeah, Jason Hartling.
Yeah,
Molly Hartling, who works.
To be fair,
with
Molly
all the time.
Molly,
or 1 second, it might be somebody like Carrie.
Carrie Eibert.
Yeah, to be fair, both of those people only deal with Los Angeles things. They don't do Florida things. They don't do legal things. They don't do.
They don't do legal.
They're not going to take over for Dave. Dave Miscavige has siloed every possible part. RTC is its own silo. CST is its own silo. The IRS, the legal.
What do you think they're going to do then?
They're going to be screwed because of the way it's set up. It's exactly how Hubbard set it up, and the only reason that David Miscavige was able to take over after Hubbard died in 1986 is he had been siloing things himself in getting prepared for when it happened. Yeah. And then when Pat Broker kind of became a problem, he just got rid of Pat Broker. And as soon as Pat Broker was gone, he'd already had everything pretty much figured out. And it took him like 3 or 4 more years to kind of weed out all the people that didn't like him. And then he had it, but he works with the people that you named on stuff that's happening at the Hollywood Guarantee Building and in PAC or in the media productions. And then that's it. They don't know about Florida. They don't know about the IAS. They don't know about
no, they do now. Maybe not RTC, but they do now.
CST.
IAS. They might not know about CST, but in the last few years that I was there, the amount of meetings that I know took place between like CST execs, like people like God, I can't remember names now. Anyway,
Trussell.
CST execs and ISA. ISA was there constantly. The COISA was there constantly. Anyway, I think that it's kind of.
I just don't think that any of those people have the caliber or the
maybe not
fortitude to do all of those things and know about it. I just don't know how you.
Yeah,
If he doesn't tell them, if he doesn't say you're going to be in charge when I leave, then when he leaves, they're not going to be in charge.
Right.
He'd have to.
Like, who is he going to turn the legal stuff over to? Because
right,
they don't do the legal stuff. So then,
history will most likely repeat itself, and it will either crumble entirely, or somebody will pull a David Miscavige and negotiate themselves into complete and utter power and destroy anyone else who was in the running.
Maybe Shelley will show up and take.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll have to see. It's a tough question.
Yeah. Okay. We got a few last ones here, guys.
Okay. Charlotte Arrow, question. How did you feel while knowing that there were only 40,000 or fewer Scientologists and that numbers were being padded? Was it discouraging or anxiety provoking?
It was discouraging and anxiety provoking, but the way I thought of it was like, well, we just need to get more people in. We just need to disseminate more. We need to recruit more. We're not doing enough. That's how I thought of it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I think it's giveaway time, guys, unless you have any other ones you want to do or anything else.
Oh, and speaking of which, Catherine, you mentioned that there's a special giveaway for today.
Yes. I didn't have time to go over this with you earlier because I messed up on the time, but I wanted to give away something from my Etsy store.
Awesome.
We can do that.
Okay.
So let's do
We can just do the giveaway. They send it to you, and then you and Claire, I guess you have to. Do they go to your site and pick something? And
they'd have to go to my Etsy store and pick something. I'd have to give them a promo code. Like, I just need to work out the logistics of it, which
we'll just have them email Claire or go to the Blown for Good website if you're the winner, and then Claire and Catherine will figure it out.
Good.
Okay. And do we want to do that one last and have them do a different hashtag if they would like something?
No, because then everybody has to re-enter. We do it the way we'll do it this way and it'll work. Okay, so here we go. All right. We've got 63 people. If you want to enter into this, if you just go into the comments and hashtag BFG, then you get to enter the contest. And right now there's 69 enters. You can see when you do it, it's going to change right here. We're doing it. And someone who wins will automatically not be entered in to win again. So you only have to do it once. Hashtag BFG, one comment, and you're entered. And multiple comments don't get multiple entries. It's once once, you're good.
Yeah. So let's do Catherine's giveaway last then.
Okay.
So because the number is going up as people are putting in their hashtags. So we will do 4 giveaways, and you get to pick. It can be a copy of Mark's book, an SP bracelet, a bobblehead, or anything from either the BFG merch store or the SP shop merch store. Of course, the SP shop, all the proceeds benefit the Aftermath Foundation. All right. Exactly right. There we go.
You ready? Catherine, you tell me when to hit the button.
Oh, I tell you?
Yeah.
I was trying to get more people to.
It's
timing, definitely.
85 people in there right now that have entered. So people, we're going to do it. We're going to do a bunch. So the more.
Okay, do it now.
There you go. Poof. Poof. There you go. Oh, I commented, so even I was entered in to win.
Oh my gosh, you're rigging the system.
No, I just commented. What? Did I comment what? Okay.
Come on, just because listen. I didn't. Oh wait, did I say hashtag BFG?
You said, yeah. You told everybody to type hashtag BFG. So now you
okay.
So,
that one doesn't count. I'm sorry, folks.
You should. You could do this, and I could give her something from my shop.
No, she will draw.
I appreciate
again,
that, Catherine. I will buy something from your shop, and we're going to benefit the audience in this case. Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Draw again.
Oh gosh, amazing. I can't believe you called that. That was just creepy.
I knew it. I was like, "What if?" Ding, you won.
Yeah.
Okay,
Christy
there you go.
Lynn Wilson.
Congratulations, Christy Lynn Wilson. Contact Claire at the Blown for Good website. Go to the contact page, and you can send her a link of whatever you want in the SP shop or the Blown for Good store, and she will send you a link so that you can order it. Okay, that was number 1. We're going to do it again.
Kitchen. Love Food Kitchen said never trusted Ginger. She rigged her own competition. That is something Mark would
To
say.
be fair,
I'm not touching any buttons.
I'm paying Love Food Kitchen a lot of money to make these comments about you. Okay, we're going to draw again. Congratulations, Christy Lynn Wilson.
Yes,
you are our first lucky winner of the day.
You are a winner.
After Claire, who rigged it, Ginger rigged it.
I did not touch
in the
anything.
Gingerverse. We're in the Gingerverse now.
Come on now. Oh my goodness.
I like that, the Gingerverse.
Yes.
Nicholas Hall. Awesome. Congratulations. Nicholas Hall from France. Email me and let me know what you would like.
Perfect. And that was number 2 out of 4. And then we're not including the bonus 5th giveaway. Yes. See there, I got entered in again. I saw it. I still haven't. Wow.
Yay, Salty Beach Girl Lori.
I think she's won before.
You know, you always say that once a week.
I know.
It seems like,
because I do see a lot of comments from.
But I will say,
thank
you very much to Betsy Sue. I haven't seen her in the chat here today, but she was a winner last week, and you said that, and I just wanted to give her a shout out because she said, "You're right. I was a winner, and I'm going to gift my win to somebody else," and she did that. So that was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Congratulations, Salty Beach Girl Lori.
Yes, congratulations.
Okay. Last one, and then we do Catherine's bonus one. We still have 89 entries. If you guys still have time to enter, you don't have to do it twice. Once you do it once, you're in. It neglects multiple entries.
Oh, which means that I'm not going to win again. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you're taken out. Yeah.
The Mr. Denlife. There you go.
Cool. There we go. I wonder if here's a great comment. I wonder if the OSA monitors the giveaways. That would be amazing. That would be amazing if they're like, let's see what Mr. Denlife got. We've been watching his mailbox. It looks like he got a bracelet.
Well, funny side story, because obviously, as we've mentioned, we have personally shipped every book that's ever been purchased of Mark's book, Blown for Good: Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, and one of the funniest memories in the darkest days of deposition. That was no fun, but we got a real laugh out of it when the Scientology lawyers pulled out Mark's book, and it was one of the very first copies we'd ever sold, which we knew because it was numbered and signed, and we were like, holy moly.
Yeah, they had a signed copy. They paid extra for that one so they could get it.
Yep.
The other thing I want to say is because we do fulfill all the orders, even to this day, is that when we sometimes we have books that are signed, and sometimes we just have regular books. If they're regular books, we don't do anything. We just know that's a regular book. But if it's a signed book, we have to put something on it. So if it's a hardback or a paperback, and a person wrote to us and they said, I think OSA has hacked you guys because the package I got in the mail said SP on it. I said, well, that's because you got a signed paperback. And that's how we mark it in Claire's office, so we know which ones they are. And SP is a signed paperback.
Yeah. Anyway. Speaking of which, by the way, because we've had a couple of people email about this, Mark's paperback and hardback books are available on the Blown for Good website. Do not go to Amazon to purchase a hardback or paperback because they're being sold for exorbitant prices on there, not by us.
Somebody sent one to me that was like $464 for a signed copy. I was like, I'm not getting any of that.
No. Mind you, we are down to, I think, approximately 70 paperbacks left to sell.
Less than that. So, I think it's like 50.
Yeah. So we're getting
paperbacks, and that's
getting down there. Yep. Exactly. I have to hurry up and finish my book. Okay, we're ready for the final giveaway.
This is the Catherine. It's photographs, right, or pictures, or it's going to be some of her photographic work that she has on her Etsy site, and she's going to give you guys one of that. So we'll send you. Claire can go, and there you go.
Catherine and I will coordinate, so it will be the same. Just shoot me an email, and we'll take it from there.
Here we go. This is it. The final entry out of 92 people. Draw. Here we go. Here we go. It's going to be me.
No, it's not. Don't say that.
I want a picture. Oh,
Cassie! Yay, that's amazing. Congratulations, Cassie.
It had to be Casey. It had to be Casey.
Is it Casey or Cassie?
It's Cassie, but I call her Casey.
Mark has been calling her Casey for
That's why it says
more than a
Cassie
year now.
as the name. It's Cassie. So
Yeah.
that I say it.
And I just want to say that this giveaway is made possible by Dr. X and Dr. Paul.
Oh,
Who
wow.
are amazing.
They're
Amazing.
the other giveaways were because of them. Or did multiple people do giveaways this week? Donate
Yes.
for giveaways? Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that was it. That was cool. I love it.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you
it
so
worked
much,
out.
Catherine. I'm sorry for the time zone
Yeah,
mix up.
sorry about that.
That's all right. It's okay. It happens.
We'll do it again, and I'll get it right.
Yes,
Well,
there you
good.
go.
We should, if you guys want us to do this again, let us know, and we'll do this with other Sea Org members as well, like a Sea Org Q&A. It was pretty great because we were able to post that we were going to do it at least a few days ahead. They really want to see John, by the way. He's going to have to at least poke in. I mean, can we see the husband?
Yeah, he can come over.
There we go.
I'm invisible.
Yes,
Oh,
there you go. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
I don't want to spill the beans, but we do have some things that are coming up, and you guys, if you're paying attention to the space, you guys will see more of John in the future. I'll just leave it at that. Does that sound good, Catherine?
What? Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, good.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, of course you know what I'm talking about, you maniac. Okay.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I'll tell
He
you after.
knows. Everybody knows what we're talking about. Don't be. Anyway, we have been working on some amazing projects, guys. And one of those projects, Catherine has been involved with. And over the next, I want to say over the next several months, we're going to start having these things come out, not only on our channel, but on the Aftermath YouTube channel, the Aftermath Foundation YouTube channel. And also Claire is setting up her channel. So in this video, I'll put links to all those different things. We'll put links to Catherine's Etsy store, and we'll put links to Claire's channel and the Aftermath channel, so you guys can subscribe to those, because not all of the things that we're going to do are all going to come out on the Blown for Good channel. We'll talk about them, but they might not appear on my channel. We're trying to kind of separate out the things that we're doing by the organization that's doing it. So for all of the Aftermath stuff, we're going to have that on the Aftermath YouTube channel from now on. So it would be great if you subscribe and click the bell notification icon on that channel, and Claire's channel, and Catherine's channel. So whatever's coming out, you guys hear about it. Question: is Sunday usually when you do the live shows? I've only listened to the podcasts until now. Yes, Brian. We do. If we do lives, we usually try to do them on Sunday, because that's a day off in the States. And then also, oh, what's that? That's weird. And then also, this allows some people in other countries that are in a totally different time zone than us, off by several hours. It allows them to sometimes see these lives in UK. Mainly is the place that we're sort of catering to. Our biggest viewers come from the United States, and then second is UK. And as far as cities go, I think it's Sydney and Melbourne are our two highest cities. But so we try to cater to the US and the UK as our main channel members. If you guys want us to do it at a different time, you got to subscribe to the channel so we can see where we're catering to. But right now, those are the two biggest.
Factor in that Mark and I both have full-time 40-hour-a-week day jobs. So that's makes it a little challenging, because after work, kids got to get fed and to bed and homework and all that joyous, wonderful, amazing stuff that we have in our lives. So that's another factor. There you go.
So we're trying to squeeze these in. We've been able to do it. If we haven't been able to do a live every week, we put a video out on Sunday at least. Claire's got a bunch of interviews coming up, and I've got a bunch of different shows coming up. So we should be able to keep going. And then Catherine has a channel now. So we're trying to, there's a lot of people that write to us and say, can you please do more videos? We want to see more videos. So if you like doing videos, get on there, click the ding-a-ling button and the subscribe button and all that good stuff. And we'll try to get you more content. But
yes, we certainly will.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine.
If you guys want us to do more of this, let us know in the comments. We do read the comments. I do see them. I answer questions from time to time in there. So even if you have a question and it's not live, If you're one of the replay crew and you're watching this, go ahead, put your question on, tell us where you're watching from. We see those all week long in the videos, and a lot of times we'll answer them, or we'll at least like them. So
yes. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Catherine. Always a pleasure. And that was an amazing conversation. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.
thanks, guys. Say bye to John.
Bye, John. Bye, everybody.
Bye, John. Bye, Kat.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Until next time. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store link in the description. We have Hail Xenu, Xenu is my homeboy, and BFG branded mouse pads, shirts, mugs, all sorts of other stuff in there that helps us to bring you new content on a regular basis. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, in hardback, Kindle, and Audible versions as well. There's also a link to our podcast, and you can get that on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click on this link right here, or you can click on this one here, or you can click on the subscribe button right here. Thanks a lot. Until next time.